what's going on in the world today, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Southern Sense Talk Radio with your host, Annie, the Radio Chick-A-Dee, and featuring Curtis C.S. Bennett and the most interesting guests that you'll find anywhere on internet radio. So sit back, relax, and remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
All right, and welcome to another adventure here on Southern Sense, live on our homepage, streaming now at southernsense.net. You can watch us there. I'll also go into our chat room. You'll also find us at Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, X, Instagram, and half a dozen other places also. So if you don't watch us live, you can always catch us in the archives by also going to southernsense.net. I'm the hostess with the least mostest, the Radio Chick-A-Dee, Annie, along with my courageous and oh so dignified co-host, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Good afternoon, Curtis. How are you today?
I don't know about Sleepy Joe, but I'm doing fine. I'm fine today.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, a lot that's going on today. And geez, we're getting hit in the media with one instance after another of changing events dealing with this election and everything surrounding it. And we're being bombarded left and right. So we have a lot to talk about. We've got great guests. We're going to be starting off with Beth Heath. She has a fantastic organization called We Can Be Heroes that can be found at wecanbeheroesfoundation.org. We'll be talking about some events she has coming up in the Florida area, so people listening can probably go and join and give support there. Followed by Mark Tapscott of the Epoch Times. Mark is Epic Times. We'll be talking to him about Biden quitting the race and Queen Kamala getting the inauguration.
Coronated.
Yes, coronated. And Netanyahu addressing Congress. We'll be talking about all of that. Followed by our friend and your friend, Clarence McKee, who is the founder of the McKee Communications media, which deals a lot with campaigns and building up things in the minority neighborhood. So we have a lot to talk about, a lot going on. Woo, I'm out of breath just talking about it.
Me just hearing you. I'm out of breath.
Well, those that listen to the show know that we start off each and every show with a dedication to a fallen hero. And with our new format now, we're doing that dedication in video format. And today's dedication is going out to three heroes. In Burnsville, Minnesota, it is police officer Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth. Their end of watch was Sunday, February 8th of 2024.
Approaching the bottom of the hour with this breaking news from that deadly shooting in Burnsville, Minnesota. We have now learned the names of the police officers and first responder who were killed on duty overnight in the early hours this morning. Joining me now, NBC's George Solis. Okay, George, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Alex, we just got this information within the last few minutes. The Burnsville community mourning the loss of police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth. So around 1:50 today, Burnsville police were called to this unit block in this neighborhood for a report of a domestic situation where a man reported to be armed, barricaded with family members, we're told. After arriving, the situation escalated into gunfire with responders. Elmstrand, Ruge, and Finseth were killed by the gunmen during the response. One other police officer, Sergeant Adam Medlicott, who was identified, was injured and transported to a hospital where he is believed to have non-life-threatening injuries. Now, approximately around 8 Central Time, the suspect was reported to be dead. Later in the morning, other family members left the home and are now safe. We are told there is no ongoing threat. Residents are being asked to listen to public safety personnel and to basically let authorities do their job until further notice. A little more additional details on those heroes. Elmstrand, 27, joined the Burnsville Police Department in August of 17 as a community service officer. He was promoted to officer in July of 19. He was part of the department's mobile command staff team, honor guard, and other training units. Ruge, 27, joined the police department in April of 2020. He was part of the department's crisis negotiating team and was a physical evidence officer. And Finseth has been a firefighter, paramedic there since February 2019. Some other detail, Alex, that we're getting now. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, BCA, is investigating the incident, and they are saying that, again, the person responsible is dead. There's actually a 4 p.m. vigil that apparently has now been scheduled here in town, and we are awaiting more details at a press conference at 5 p.m. Eastern time here. So what other information we're learning at this hour? Well, we spoke to someone who was actually in that neighborhood who has heard some of that gunfire, Alex, and described some of that scene for us this morning. Take a listen.
About 5:40 this morning, heard a lot of sirens coming outside my window. So I opened the window to kind of get a gauge of where they were heading. And I heard a few loud bangs, maybe a minute apart, and I'm not sure that those were gunshots. They might have been, tear gas or flashbangs or something. But I hopped on the police scanner for Dakota County, which Burnsville is in, and I heard reports of shots fired near Burnsville Parkway.
Yeah, Alex, and we're actually just starting to hear more and more of these witness accounts about the shooting there. And obviously we now know the names of those heroes who died in this tragedy. One additional first responder that was injured, expected to survive, we're told. And again, that community vigil. And again, that shooter, we're told, now dead. More information to come during that press conference, and reaction, of course, coming in from law enforcement from around the country, as well as the governor and representatives of Minnesota. Alex.
I want to thank you all for attending today to honor and remember our fallen heroes. I would like to talk briefly and share a few stories about my partners and friends, Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge. I supervised both of them on nights and was standing with them on their final call. I was one of Paul's field training officers. Although I quickly realized how smart and thoughtful Paul was, he still had his moments. One day we were dispatched to a report of a theft in progress at Macy's. As we pulled up to the store, we saw a vehicle unoccupied and idling in front of the main entrance. Excitedly, Paul yells, "Look, it's the go-away vehicle." I kind of just looked at him in disbelief for a moment before saying, "It's getaway car, Paul."
Paul was notified just a few weeks ago that he had made the Lima Honor Guard team, where he would have honored the fallen as we are doing today.
Our son is a police officer.
Oh, okay.
And a different location, and so just to support that and the family.
Yeah.
And it could have been our son. You know?
He actually knew him.
Yeah, he knew one of the officers.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So.
But I also have a son who's 27. She's got sons similar in age, and life's just beginning.
Yeah.
And these young families being just ruined for no reason. So we just want to come and pay our respects. Yeah.
I remember the very first call I went on with Matthew Ruge. I was training a new officer, and Matt had just completed field training himself. We were dispatched to a young lady who was to start an addiction treatment program that day. They didn't know what to say or how to say it. I remember Matt looking back at me with a face that said, "I don't know what else to do." That's when I had to step in, and I took over all the talking. After the call, Matt walked up to me and said, "Thanks, Adam. Man, I really effed that one up." He used the real word, though. I was standing next to him on his last call, but now it was Matt that was doing all the talking. And now it was me that was looking to him for the answer. I believed in him as a crisis negotiator, and everyone here should know he was doing an amazing job of it. You can't reason with evil. You didn't F this one up, Matt.
And the turnout of people support has just been tremendous.
Channel 11.
Nice.
Adam's consistency of character is the definition of integrity. There were no surprises. He treated everyone in the community as he would want to treat his own family. I can say without reservation, firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth was tried, he was tested, and he was found worthy. Adam died helping his comrades without a second thought.
To lose a brother, a husband, a father, a son, a grandson is devastating, and my heart breaks for all of you.
All units stand by for final call. Empire to 45-183. Empire to 45-176. Empire to firefighter badge number 83. Empire calling 45-183, 45-176, and firefighter badge number 83. All units, Officer Matthew Ruge, badge 45-183, Officer Paul Elmstrand, badge 45-176, and firefighter Adam Finseth, badge number 83, have answered their final call. These men responded together, laid down their lives for one another, and died doing what they were called to do. The citizens of Burnsville will forever be in their debt. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten. Empire to 45-183, 45-176, firefighter 83, may you forever rest in peace.
Let it be said, when we finish this race, we kept them free, we led with grace. Let it be seen, from sea to shining sea, beautiful America, living our legacy. Oh, father, mother, sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other. Oh, for the soul of the nation, for the next generation. Let us be known as people of honor, humble and bold, faithful through fire. Let us hold firm to our convictions with wide open hearts, eager to listen. Oh, let it be said, when we finish this race, we kept them free, yeah, we led with grace. Sister, brother, oh, we gotta learn to love each other, oh, for the soul of the nation, for oh, the next generation.
All right. And that was Tiffany. And Tiffany, you can find up on YouTube. And hopefully we'll have her back on real soon. We're back with Southern Sense here. I'm your hostess, Annie Ubelis, with my co-host, C.S. Bennett. And we have with us a special guest today, Beth Heath. She is with We Can Be Heroes Foundation. That can be found at wecanbeheroesfoundation.org. I'm getting a little feedback. Beth, do you have a headset that you can put on? Or you're using your speakers?
I don't know. Not with me, but perhaps on notification.
Oh, all right, because we're getting a little bit of a feedback. Your organization does a lot of great work with veterans as well as first responders, and that means a lot, especially to me, because Curtis is a veteran and I'm a retired first responder. But tomorrow, you've got yourself a special going on for the Korean War veterans, where they will receive a free sandwich for the 71st anniversary of the Korean War armistice.
Well, that's actually Mission Barbecue Initiative, but we outspread the word for all Korean veterans for a free sandwich at Mission Barbecue all over the country. So we're spreading the word all over the country.
Well, you also have something coming up August 2nd.
That's correct.
This is America First Candidates and Heroes. What is this all about? And there's some controversy behind it because you had to reschedule because you were getting feedback from the venue that you had chosen.
Well, actually, we just decided to change the venue. They had some issues that weren't able to resolve. So we were lucky enough to find another venue. It's a little bit smaller, but it's still quite appropriate and lovely. And it is Salem Center near I-95 in Jacksonville. Beautiful auditorium. And this is actually it's our second America First event. We had one in 2018. But this one is with very admired heroes, Roger Stone, Laura Loomer, and Colonel McAllister. And they will be hitting the stage around 6:45 on the 2nd, Friday the 2nd. And preceding that, we are having a meet and mingle with local candidates and an opportunity for folks to learn about the 6 amendments that are on our Florida ballot. Amendments to our Constitution, and 2 of them are horrible. And we recommend people vote yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes to the 6 amendments. The 3rd and 4th are poorly worded. They don't say what they actually will wind up doing, and involves murder. It involves murder of not only our unborn, but our newborn So you can't get much worse than that now, can you? So people are confused about these amendments, and so we're trying to shed a little light on educating the public on these amendments, as well as meet and mingle with candidates, any candidates that show up. And we're going to serve a hearty dinner from a one of the best restaurants, 3-course dinner from a veteran-owned restaurant in Jacksonville. So it's going to be fun. And at 6:45, the main event starts with Laura Loomer, Roger Stone, and Colonel McAllister. And there will also be the presentation of the 2024 Patriots' Choice Hero Awards. So this is going to be a surprise to folks. A beautiful, beautiful award of eagle and flag, and so we're going to be presenting that as well. And as usual, we always give a 10% discount to veterans for any of our events. And then we have another event coming up, Saturday, August 17th, a luncheon, which is a tribute to veteran unsung heroes. And there are 2 veteran heroes in Jacksonville. One's in this area, Northeast Florida. I shouldn't say Jacksonville because I'm not exactly sure. But one of these veterans is a computer engineer, and he resolved voter fraud in Florida to the tune of hundreds of thousands of fraudulent absentee ballots in our last presidential election, and created a group and a system for everybody to be able to determine our address is correct. Are these fraudulent? Are these real people? Are they citizens? And so he is a super duper hero. And the second gentleman, his name is Chris Jersky. Chris Jersky. So you'll be hearing more about him as time marches on. And the second gentleman, his name is Rick McAllister, and he has been dealing with helping veterans with PTSD. And he did one of the most unusual things. He took a group of veterans dealing with PTSD on a 500-mile healing pilgrimage in Spain. He called it the Last Patrol, the Pilgrimage of Brotherhood. And so he's going to be giving us the story of this wonderful, wonderful 500-mile, doesn't sound wonderful to me, but veterans it does. And so 2 very distinct missions that these 2 veterans took, but both of them amazing heroes. So they're going to be telling their story, and we'll have a luncheon and a lot of fun. And we always have our Atlantic Coast Young Marines at our events to do flag ceremonies, welcome folks. They help us set up, clean up, whatever. And this group of Atlantic Coast Young Marines has won many awards. And I think they came in 3rd in the nation of all the United States of Young Marines, which is a lot of competition. And last year we were able to raise enough funds, along with other folks, to send, I think it was 16 young Marines to D-Day.
Wow.
And this was their dream. You know, I always say these kids could have asked to go anywhere. They could have said Disney World, they could have said wherever, could have said the beach, could have said, wherever. Instead, they said they want to go meet D-Day veterans. So that says a lot about the Atlantic Coast Young Marines. And this year, we're helping them fundraise to go to Pearl Harbor. They have already been accepted to be in the big Pearl Harbor Parade in December in Hawaii. So they're an outstanding group. So we're also involved with something that we learned a couple of weeks ago that our overseas troops are struggling to feed their families. Let me say that again. Our overseas troops are struggling to feed their families. And what is happening is that the community is setting up food pantries for our U.S. troops overseas. So the biggest overseas is in South Korea, Camp Humphreys. And they have, I think, a huge 24,000, I believe. And they are standing to watch in South Korea, as have Korean defense veterans been doing for the last 71 years, ever since the armistice was signed. So we've been in contact with their base personnel, and indeed they do have a food pantry. Indeed, they do have shortages, and they are set up a procedure for us to send donations to them in money. They're setting up a procedure for us to send pallets of goods, but that isn't quite resolved yet, the process on that. But in the meantime, we're sending money so that they can do the shopping and fill the pantry. So they have a shortage of essential goods, that's a little bit difficult to find. So we're trying to get the actual goods shipped on those. Because many of these families, have children in diapers, and I don't know if you've ever looked, but the last time I looked was I was like, oh my gosh, this is more than going to Ruth Chris. So anyway, so they're really struggling, and this was a shock to us, and it's been a shock to others as well. So we're going to go on a campaign asking our congressional elected officials for them to donate.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give them a pay raise enough to live. They aren't paying them enough, and they're not controlling inflation. So we're going to ask them to donate as well. So of course the public is the group that always donates to the most important causes that touch our hearts. So that's one thing that we're steadily working on, and we're, as I mentioned earlier, we're raising funds for the Atlantic Coast Young Marines. That unit has grown so much, and it's very expensive to travel. And so even though the trip is in December, they have to make the reservations well in advance. So now is the time that we're heavily asking for donations to get these young Marines to Pearl Harbor to continue their education of World War II history, which is amazing. They won't find it in a public school.
No, matter of fact, if they go to your website, and I've got it scrolling across the screen so people can look at it and copy it down, wecanbeheroesfoundation.org, and they go on to the Trending Now page, and they can click on Help Young Marines Learn World War II History. They can click on that there and learn about what you're doing and help, maybe make a donation to help pay for these trips to Normandy and to Pearl Harbor.
Right. And they're not only relying on the public to donate. These young Marines are out every weekend raising money. I don't care whether it's washing cars, setting up tables at gun shows or Publix or any place that will allow them, or any place there's going to be a crowd. They march in parades and have tables for donations, and so they're not just sitting around waiting for a handout. They're working it, and they work every one of our events. Last night we had our annual Korean War Armistice Remembrance, and they were right there welcoming everyone that came in, and assisting those that needed help, and at certain points in the program, they gave their Yahoo. So they're just adorable, and they're dedicated, and they serve the community. They work anytime there's a military or a veterans event, they're there. They're just a phone call away. So it's excellent. They have a new commander. He's actually active duty Navy, and so they're drawing a lot of people into their organization, and we're just pleased to be a part of their efforts.
And they all look so good in their uniforms.
Oh, yeah. And I just love it. They'll do whatever we ask. If we say we need you there to set up, we need you there to clean up, we need you there to greet, we need a flag ceremony, we need you to do the prayer, we need you to say a few words. They're not bashful. They'll get right up to the mic. And it just restores your faith in our youth. So we have a couple of other initiatives working, but I know you have other guests. We always have our weekly trip to the Clear White Mission in Jacksonville to take food and goods, and we do a monthly luncheon with them. And it is a sit-down luncheon where our volunteers join them. We joke, we talk, we share information. We introduce each person. Every person gets a hand of applause, and it's just a lot of camaraderie and fun. And when they leave there, we give them a ditty bag for food for 2 days, prepackaged food. So it's just a nice fellowship.
Well, good luck, Beth. And man, I wish I could be there, but that's not going to happen. But people can find out more by going to the website, which is wecanbeheroesfoundation.org. I'm telling people to check it out. There's a link on the show pages that went out to all those other social networks, and people can look at that in the archives, click on the link by your name, and also go to the website.
Well, thank you so much. And I must say that the Honorable C.S. Bennett is one of our national spokesmen. Okay, so he's an expert on We Can Be Heroes and all the different initiatives that our volunteers, we're all volunteer, that we work on. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting this show. It was wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Beth. God bless, and we welcome you back in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, check it out, Beth Heath at wecanbeheroesfoundation.org. We're waiting for Mark Tapscott to call in. And there's a couple of things. We had Chris Gajerski on in the past, and I meant to ask you, CS, if you can give me his contact information, because I did want to reach out to him a second time.
I could get it from Beth.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But a little note while we're waiting for Mark to call in. This came across my email just before coming on air, and I printed it out real quick. It has to deal with, where did I put it now? Joe Biden dropping out, and then the funds for Joe Biden's campaign suddenly now get switched over to Kamala Harris. Well, that sounded like a little hinky to me, and I thought it wasn't legal. Because when you make a donation to a person's campaign, you're making it to that specific person, and you can't simply willy-nilly just transfer the money back and forth. Well, I was right. And here in South Carolina, they've joined a complaint to the Federal Election Commission against Kamala Harris. There was another individual that followed this. Let me see. I'm looking for the name. The South Carolina GOP is joined by 16 other state parties, Citizens United, and David Bossie in this complaint to the FEC. Because it was not a joint account, it was not Biden-Harris account, it was Biden for president account. And on the very day that he declared he was not going to run, he was withdrawing his name, $96 million suddenly got transferred from Joe Biden campaign there to Kamala Harris. You can't do that. That's not legal. So Kamala Harris is claiming she raised all this money, but 96 million of it is not legal.
Well, when did laws matter to these folks? Hopefully, whoever's going to adjudicate this complaint will, side with what's right and not what's wrong and expedient for the Democrats. Right.
Well, in the complaint, now the chairman of the South Carolina GOP happens to be a friend of mine, Drew McKissick. He makes a statement. His statement is the South Carolina Republican Party hopes that the Federal Election Commission will take urgent action to stop this illegal and unethical transfer of funds. The law is clear. Those funds were given to Biden for president, not Harris for president, or even Biden-Harris. And Joe Biden simply cannot give her $96 million. There is no joint bank account with the vice presidential candidate until after they officially become the nominee of the party. This was a blatant illegal money grab, pure and simple.
Well, like I said, I hope there's some way we can interdict this and put a halt to it, because no doubt she's using some of this money to put out campaign ads and flyers and things of that sort. And in no way should we help her when what she's doing is not constitutional, or what the regulations states that she can do or can't do.
Exactly.
We don't want to give her the advantage when there is none.
But the main fact is she's not the party nominee yet.
No, she isn't.
So
they could have transferred to our accounts.
Or return the money. But since she's not even the nominee, there's no legal reason to transfer that. And again, she's claimed to raise something like $140 million. Well, 96 of it is not legal.
Right. Well, it plays out in their listenership. They're not great, researchers or anything. They just hear things and go with it. But, they were after Trump about not wanting to debate her. But he had a good point. It's like, she's not the nominee yet, officially. So why should I debate this woman?
Mm-hmm.
I debated who the people voted for, which was Joe Biden, on that side of the aisle. And why should I have to do it again for somebody who's not the nominee?
No.
And all the while she's saying, well, he's scared to debate me. No, he isn't. He's just smart not to debate you.
Well, we're waiting again for Mark Tapscott to call in. So I pulled up a couple of things. I don't know if you followed what was going on with Netanyahu's visit. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk to Mark about, since he is down there in D.C. With the nothing other to call it, but the rioting for the pro-Hamas Palestinian, the defacing of our national monuments and public areas and public monuments. We have, what was it? Close to 1,400 people that have been arrested, and more arrests coming for the January 6, 2021 Capitol incident. 1,400. You know how many have been arrested with the pro-Hamas DC rioting? 10.
That's it?
10. 10 people.
I'm surprised it's that many.
10 people. They burned an effigy of Netanyahu right smack in public. I don't think that's legal. They burned the American flag. They were burning the Israeli flag. One guy tried to rescue the flag, and he got chased down by a couple of these protesters. And I hope he wasn't hurt or anything, because the cameras show him taking off with the American flag, and one of these Hamas supporters wearing a red shirt barrels right behind him, running after him, trying to grab the flag back to burn it again. In Palm Beach, in Florida, near Mar-a-Lago, there's a protest going on. On one side of the street, you see some Israeli supporters, and the other side, you see pro-Palestinian Hamas supporters. And it is just mind-blowing that this is allowed to occur.
Now, did we riot after we found out that there was an assassination attempt on Trump? No, our side did not. Had that been Obama, they'd be tearing up all these. I mean, we have breakouts all over across America. They tried to kill the first Black American president,
No. And it is the hypocrisy that you treat one side with kid gloves, and yet the other side, you just stomp on them.
Yeah, you come down with the hammer.
Yeah. And then you watch the testimony of Director Wray, the FBI director, claiming that, Trump, there was a piece of shrapnel that hit him. And yet, I think it was either ABC or CBS slowed the videotape down that actually showed not one, but two bullets flying past Trump's head.
Yeah, I saw the one with the trailer,
Right. But there was also a second round that missed him, that you see go right past his head. Now, supposedly this kid, Thomas Cook, fired off 8 rounds. And I remember listening very carefully after, maybe about an hour after the incident, Newsmax was able to enhance the audio. And you can clearly then, at that point, I heard the full 8 rounds. Here, Director Wray is saying, he's playing it all down like it's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Well, I would like to know where this piece of glass came from. There was nothing in front of the president.
No.
The former president that was glass or hard plastic or bulletproof or whatever.
No, he had the teleprompters there.
And you have to wonder about that. Why didn't they have a bulletproof, shield there?
It should have been a bulletproof shield around him.
This reeks of setup.
There's so many things that were done wrong. There was no complete coordination between local law enforcement and the Secret Service. The local law enforcement offered to fly drones for them when they saw the Secret Service didn't have any. And the Secret Service turned them down. And some of those people that were on the detail were pulled out from desk duty. They weren't trained for bodyguard duty. Not everyone in Secret Service is trained for bodyguard duty.
Yeah, that's true. Presidential Protection Team is a specialized unit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whenever we picked up, or someone would turn in counterfeit money, they would come into the precinct, or you'd go somewhere and say, the cashier or the owner would say, hey, listen, we think this is counterfeit. Can you take a look at it? We would then take it, vouch for it, contact the Secret Service, and they would come and pick it up. So not everyone is trained for bodyguard duty. There's different things that the Secret Service does, not just, protecting the president and the vice president. So these people, some of them had absolutely no training. That's why you heard them going, what's going on? What do we do? What do we do? This is the Secret Service asking the other Secret Service members, what do we do? You're supposed to train together. You're supposed to know exactly who's going to be where at what moment. And your head is constantly on a swivel. And you've got one person being a bodyguard when she was a full head shorter than the president.
To this day, I don't know, as far as the counter snipers, I don't know if they were FBI, Secret Service, or somebody from one of the special forces units, because sometimes they use those guys too, SEAL snipers or whatever. I don't know.
Well, from the reports I was hearing, that there was, of the two counter snipers, one was Secret Service and the other one was local law enforcement sniper.
And see, I've heard FBI, and it just doesn't make sense. And what her name was, Cheadle, she wasn't forthcoming and she had to go. I was surprised that the Democrats really tore into her. Really surprised.
Well,
because they usually circle their wagons.
This woman did not belong in that position, honestly, quite honestly. Sorry.
No, she didn't.
She did not belong. If something as serious as this Our former president was attempted assassination. The director is going to be on the scene. You know that. They're not going to be armchair quarterbacking. They want to know what's going on, because when the shit hits the fan, and it did, they had to know every single detail. And she got caught just going, she had no answers. How many rounds were fired? Well, it's an ongoing investigation. We don't have all the answers yet. Did the Secret Service fly a drone? It's an ongoing investigation. We don't have all the answers. She didn't know. Did you visit the scene? No. No. And now you got Director Ray going, oh, it was a piece of shrapnel. Really? Even a piece of shrapnel can kill. But really?
Yeah.
Really? He was trying to downplay that.
They downplay everything, just like Kamala. She never went to the border, and she was designated the border czar. And now they, trying to back away from that.
Well, God bless Newsmax, because they were playing clip after clip after clip after news organizations and politicians calling her the border czar.
Right.
Even to the moment where Biden appointed her to take care of the border.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Border,
she may not be a czar. She's a czarina. Still. But then again, did you see that phony ad that they came up with about, I think, 5 o'clock this morning with Barack and Michelle Obama endorsing the Queen Kamala?
Oh, they did?
Oh, it is so staged. It is so phony. It is absolutely cringeworthy, honestly.
So it wasn't convincing. It wasn't heartfelt.
Well, they make it sound like it. And to the fact that it was staged, because she's standing outside, she takes the phone call, and it's Michelle and Barack Obama on the phone, giving her lavish praise, and she's nodding and smiling and answering back. And it was so orchestrated down to the point where they cut it off, and they took out of it where she started to laugh, that cackle. And they were playing it over and over again. It's like, please, 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 stop, enough.
Oh, she didn't get a chance to do that saying she always says. It's almost like to be or not to be.
Enough. There's so much more to talk about. I mean, oh, God. But Netanyahu spoke before Congress, and I really was hoping Mark would call in, but I'm sure with everything that's going on in D.C. right now, he's got running around like a chicken with his head cut off. So we'll have to hopefully get him back at another time. I thought the speech Netanyahu did was great. It was really good. And I think it struck the right chord, because he was basically saying defending Israel is also defending the United States. Because once Israel falls, Iran is behind everything going on in Israel right now. We know that. They control Hezbollah, they control the Houthis, they control Hamas. And everything that's happening to Israel right now is being directed by the Ayatollahs in Iran. So if Israel falls, we're next. It's death to Israel and death to America. And that's why we have so many of these pro-Hamas and pro-Palestine protests going on, because, again, Iran is sending their people over here to orchestrate this. You notice how everyone's wearing the same colors, the same scarves? I'm sorry, you do not get an organic demonstration with everyone just so coordinated. The same signs, the same chants. It's highly coordinated and executed. And what Iran wants is to see the destruction of these United States. And they said the best way to do that is destroy us from within, which is what they're doing. So now you have Netanyahu going to the joint houses of Congress to give his speech and address them, and you've got a couple of dozen Democrats protesting. Pelosi wasn't there. No. But Rashida Tlaib did show up with her sign.
I saw that.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this one up, because where is that? Here we go. Come on. Here it is. All right. The team, the Sergeant at Arms team that is in charge of security and decorum in Congress, several times they went up to her, multiple times, asking her to put the sign down, to not do that. It was just not the right thing to do. And she kept on waving it until they finally had her. Fox News Digital observed a member of the House Sergeant at Arms staff speaking to Tlaib multiple times, after which she put the sign down, but it didn't stop the social media from erupting over her display. One side of the sign said guilty of genocide, and the other side said war criminal. This is not conduct becoming of a member of Congress.
No. You know, Nikita Khrushchev said back in the 60s, America would not be destroyed by any missiles from Russia, but from within. And there's a lot of truth to that. We see it now, today.
Mm-hmm.
We have interlopers that have come here, become citizens, and some remain non-citizens, but they're working against what we stand for and the principles we believe in. And now we got to face the reality that they're here to do us harm.
Oh, yeah. They do intend to do us harm. And I was watching the protests where one group was carrying this huge sign saying, Students United for Intifada. I'm sorry. That's terrorism. That's war. You're saying you want to see a ceasefire, but yet you're saying that you support terrorism and war. Students United for Terrorism and War. You're saying the exact opposite of what you're claiming to be standing for.
Well,
and they're spray painting the public statues and stuff. Here comes, waiting for Hamas. Hamas is coming. They want the terrorism to come here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way we lowered our standards for college entry, we're not sending the best and the brightest to our universities.
No, we're not. We're not. And I guess Mark isn't going to be with us. So let me put this all aside because I see another smiling face. And we'll put that aside for now and bring on our other guest, the one, the only, now to be outdone, Clarence McKee. Good afternoon, Clarence. How are you today?
Pretty good.
And, as I was going over all my notes and everything, it nagged me in the back of my head, something you had said to me at one point. And as I'm reading your bio, I go, that's what it is. That's what was nagging me. You used to work for Jacob Javits.
Yes.
Well, that was my senator. And I remember as a kid, my parents, when we had moved to Westbury from Brentwood, they would take us every once in a while, either up to Canada to see Quebec and Montreal. And one year they took us down to Washington, D.C. And at that time, you didn't have to go through security or anything. We walked into the office unannounced of Senator Jacob Javits.
Room 326 of the old Senate office building.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And my parents shook hands with Jacob Javits. You might have even been in the office at that point.
Yes, I hate to see what year that was. 70, 68, 67,
probably,
70, 71?
If it would have been probably somewhere around 65 to 68, one of those years.
I was a bit later. Remember when McGovern ran for the presidency? Was that 72? I was with Javits just at that time because McGovern was chairman of a hunger committee. And Javits was the ranking Republican. And we rewrote the food stamp school lunch bill. I happened to be, I praised myself, one of the guys who told Senator Javits on the way to the airport in Baltimore, Washington Airport, Senator, I think that everybody at poverty level should get a free school lunch. And up to that point, they had a reduced price lunch program. And he said, put it in the bill, put it in the bill. He was one of those, a genius. He was the greatest guy. We had to have a dictionary when I first started working for him to correct his, congressional record statements. Just a brilliant guy. He was a brilliant guy. And McGovern was always jealous of him because he would take over a hearing. That's phenomenal. That was a great committee. On that committee was Javits, John Sherman Cooper of Kentucky. I'm really dating myself. Mondale, Fritz Mondale. Just a great group of people. And Alan Ellender from Louisiana.
Was Humphrey around back then?
Yes.
Yes. Humphrey.
I think
he was vice presidential candidate one time.
Yeah. He went back to the Senate, and then 68 came up, and that's when everything hit the fan. Johnson said, "I shall not seek, nor shall I accept the nomination of my party as another term as your president," which I thought this president was going to say. But yeah, it was great. Those were great years.
And now look what we're stuck with.
Yeah, really I'm putting together another book on my Reagan years, and I was just doing that chapter on the school lunch bill. It was great. Jacob Javits.
Well, I didn't really.
No more like them.
No. But to remind people that you do have a book that came out, I think it was 3-4 years ago, How Obama Failed Black America and How Trump is Helping It, that they can find at your website, which is your name, ClarenceMcKee.com.
Gotcha.
I'm going to do the plug for you.
Got me. Thank you.
But you also have a communications media company. And I'm watching all the stuff that's going on with the Democrats in their nominee. And did you ever think that we would end up with a situation such as this? A president that is so mentally incompetent, he can't run for re-election, and yet he remains in office. And then the anointing of a Democratic nominee without even having a convention.
And she's just as brain dead as he is. She's not bright at all. I mean, this woman is a disgrace, total disgrace. And I'm telling him, the air will come out of this balloon as soon as the little party is over for her. When she gets off the teleprompter, she's horrible, horrendous. She's already made a big boo-boo yesterday with Netanyahu. When Bibi, she met with him, tells him one thing, then comes out and takes a slap at Israel.
Exactly.
She's bad.
And she did not even share the podium microphone with him. She made her own statement. So she goes in, does a photo op, tells him one line of BS, comes back out and makes it sound as if Israel is absolutely horrible because they're starving people and this and that, when it could be furthest from the truth.
And didn't show up for his speech.
Exactly. Oh, she goes to a girls' sorority.
Campaign.
That could have been rescheduled.
Yeah, Republican could never get away with this. She is a disgrace, and I just wait for this balloon to pop. And I tell you what, I'm telling you what, when she gets out of that teleprompter, she's going to say something. And what did she go off on the first? By the way, she could never get reparations. You know that. In order to get reparations, she or Obama, you have to be able to trace your ancestry to slavery and it being in the United States. Well, her father was Jamaican, her mother's Asian. She talks about being black. Of course, then she takes the number one position is against abortion, right? Like Margaret Sanger. So here's this little lady talking about abortion, and my good friend Alveda King has called it genocide. So that's where she's starting off, killing little black babies. I wish somebody would call her out.
And laughing about it.
Yes. That star is gonna collapse.
Yeah. The honeymoon is going to last, I say, maybe 2 weeks.
And she took 18 hours to condemn the anti-Jewish protesters who were just defacing the Capitol, which this Department of Justice apparently support because they don't attack anybody, they don't indict anybody, but they did January 6th. But what they did in the Capitol the other day was 20 times worse than January 6th. So you always wonder, at the top, the line people, the FBI and the Secret Service are great folks. But when you get to people like Ray, the head of the FBI, who made that insinuation yesterday that maybe it wasn't a bullet, or the head of the Secret Service, who resigned. But what people don't know, that the man who was recently appointed as the deputy, former deputy, who was acting director, he was the number 2 guy under Cheadle the Secret Service. He was the one who planned the day-to-day protective activities. He was. So they've got the same guy who was in charge of everything that happened 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And you really wonder what's going on with the conspiracy theory here.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you really believe what the FBI report's going to say after what Ray said today? No.
Oh, but the latest is the FBI says they want to interview Trump about the assassination.
Finally. They usually
interview 2 weeks
first, don't they?
2 weeks? Yeah.
Oh.
It took them 2 weeks to say, we want to talk to President Trump about what happened to him. Yep. When 95% of the nation already knows what happened, they screwed up. Major screw up. I
was sitting here writing. I came back home to do your show. I was sitting here writing with the TV over here. It was really kind of surreal. I looked to my right, heard this noise, boom, 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 and everyone diving. He said, "What's going on?" Holy, it was really scary. But I think he's still in a lot of danger.
I do too.
Don't go to rallies. I'm telling you, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but a lot of people in Washington will feel very threatened by him. Head of the FBI, head of the CIA, head of the Secret Service. So you never know what happens, No. I'm not going to get out here on these.
Well, from what I understand, he is not going to do too many more outdoor events. Most of them are going to be indoors where it can be controlled. The environment could be a little more controlled.
Well, let's see how many of those big cities say, no, you can't use our Coliseum. Blue City. Oh, you can't use our convention center. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's not over. It is not over. Far from it. And as I listen to everything that was been going on, the more I get angry. I mean, the people that were on the detail that were actually desk bound had no training in doing bodyguard work. Absolutely zero. Local law enforcement offered to fly drones for the Secret Service when they saw that the Secret Service didn't bring any. And the Secret Service said, no, we don't need them. You've got a building in direct line of sight that any halfway decent person with a good rifle can hit the president, and no one's covering that. Oh, no, but they're inside the building. The roof was too steep.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. 4 degrees was the roof. The handicap ramp I had built for my mom out front, it's 10 degrees. And she goes pushing it up with her walking. She's 92. If she can come up a 10-degree handicap ramp, a Secret Service agent can walk a 4-degree roof.
Exactly. I tell you, it's very scary. Here you've got a woman who wants to get rid of ICE, calls them Ku Klux Klanners, right? She wants to defund the cops and get rid of private health insurance. So all of this is going to come out, but we can't underestimate these folks. I'm telling you, the Democrats, how they lie and cheat and steal on votes as they did in 2020. You better not, they can't be underestimated with how they count votes, especially in these blue states. And Republicans and the Trump people better have a lot of lawyers ready and a lot of people going to the polls early and writing in, because the enemy, you can't trust them.
I say this ironically, but their Trump card is all these illegals. They are registered to vote. Mm-hmm. And we have to stop that. I think the House passed a bill for voter integrity, but the Senate turned it down. They control, the Democrats control the Senate, but it's not over yet.
No.
The Black Caucus and all these Black Democrats are fools.
Who
do you think these illegals' jobs? Whose jobs are they going to get? They're kicking little black kids out of daycare centers and putting illegals there. How many black folks in Harlem or Chicago got paid debit cards to get food? None. But they're giving these folks all kinds of things. And hopefully some of these black folks in Chicago and places are going to vote for Trump instead of who.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things happening here because as of last week, they were saying that 29%, Trump was getting 29% of the black vote.
Yep.
Now, any candidate, if they get 20% of the black vote, are doing excellent.
Yes.
But now 29 and climbing, because they're seeing the very same things that you're talking about. Now, recently, the labor numbers came out, and they were touting how great they were.
Yes.
Well, we had 1.1 million foreign workers employed the last segment. Yet at the same time, 1 million Americans lost their jobs. Notice how the numbers are very similar. 1.1 million foreigners are given jobs. Oh, wait a minute. Walmart said they're hiring illegal aliens, courtesy of the government's permission.
Yes.
Really?
Well,
And
not
yet,
only that,
1 million Americans were no longer working.
You got people out here that's working 2 or 3 jobs, and they're counting those as new jobs, new people, new entities, and that's not true. They have to survive any way they can. So a lot of people are working full-time and part-time.
It's very scary. I don't know how long it's going to take. The Democratic convention. Let's see what happens in Chicago. If all these protesters show up in Chicago, they may get the word, let's not disturb anything. We want to make sure Kamala is not harassed and that we don't get voters going against us because it was like 1968. But I think they're going to show up. And you got the mayor of Chicago, another incompetent. They wanted a black mayor, and they sure got one. One day, black folks will start voting on competence and not race. Mm-hmm. Do it all the time. Chicago, and look at the cities, right? And they get away with it.
Well, I want to point out that you are a contributor to Newsmax, and I love watching it. And they reached out on the Republican convention, reached out and covered 10 million people viewed.
Yes.
Their coverage was viewed by 10 million people on Newsmax, possibly Newsmax 2.
Newsmax TV beat, in the ratings last month, beat CNN.
Mm-hmm.
Beat CNN. So we're coming through good.
So people are starting to tune in and listen and say, wait a minute, we're not getting the full truth. And they're getting really ticked off. But you saw the energy that they had at the convention too.
Oh, yes.
And it was, I think it was the second or third day that every single person that went up to speak was a minority.
Mm-hmm. The mother from New York was phenomenal, wasn't she? I think she was from New York. They were really great. She was good. Her son had been killed. I think he was a former military guy.
Yeah.
They were really, really great.
He got killed on the streets of New York City by an illegal alien. And then they had the Gold Star families from Afghanistan. And when they named each one, to hear the audience repeat the names with respect and dignity, and there was not a dry eye in the house.
CNN and MSNBC went out of their way to make sure their audience didn't see those people that were speaking at the convention. They would have some kind of background, like focus on Trump's wife, the first lady, former first lady, and they'll have a panel talking, so their audience couldn't hear all these people that had complaints about Biden and his policies. And that's the way they do it. They censor the information that their people get, their audience.
They are sick. Joy Reid, biggest racist in the world. Larry O'Donnell. Oh my gosh.
Whoopi.
Oh God.
Oh, don't get me started on Morning Joe. Who got yanked off the air 2 days in a row because they knew he was going to say something that was going to blow back on them.
Yes.
And he threw a hissy fit, said, "You ever do that to me again, I'm going to quit." Well, bye. Don't let the door hit you in the tush.
Well, the only one that seemed like they got some sense is Bill Maher.
Yes. He's been saying a lot of good things.
I mean, you had an excellent article up in Newsmax. You were talking about the assassination attempt and what could possibly happen to the members of the Supreme Court. You were saying it could be signaling at another attempt on maybe the Supremes. We've had it where several times the Supreme Court members would find people protesting outside their homes. I believe Kavanaugh actually had to move.
Exactly. It was really ironic. All of this vitriol against the Supreme Court coming out of the Congress and the pundits. I said, this is vicious. It's really vicious. And talking about the MAGA majority. So I said, it's only a matter of time. And Stuart Turley had a great column saying, after Biden went on and lied about what happened with the Supreme Court, that this is dangerous rhetoric. So that's what the basic article is going to be about. And then 2 days later, before I sent it in, there was the attempt on Trump. So it just all came in. I said, the Supreme Court may be the next line of target. And they say, we should quiet down, tone down the rhetoric. And 20 minutes later, they're calling Trump all kinds of names. So they don't care. I think that there's many people in the media, many Democrats on the progressive left, who are very sorry that guy missed Trump.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they won't say it, but they wish he had done it. That's a shame. They're not going to say that, right? But
No.
you can tell.
No, and it was like an open invitation on social media to make comments, asking, well, the assassin's one job was to hit Trump, and he couldn't get that right. You saw there was someone had put up on Amazon selling T-shirts. The only good Trump is a dead Trump. Mm-hmm. And Amazon thankfully yanked that product off. But you hear people that are school teachers, that are members of government, placing comments like that. I'm sorry, you're getting public dollars, our taxpayer dollars, to either educate or to administrate. No, you don't deserve that job anymore. You should lose that job.
Well, how about the question that came up with Director Wray yesterday or 2 days ago before the Congress? A Republican member of Congress said, are you familiar with this questionnaire that asked FBI employees, what do they think of Donald Trump? How are you voting? Ray said, I didn't know about that. But when I found out about it, we fired the contractor. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they going to say? They don't want to lose their clearance. How did the guy get hired to do the survey? So that's why Trump's still in danger. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, they have been doing a massive weeding out of anyone that is a conservative in the FBI or has probably voted for Trump or attended a rally. They're yanking the security clearance. They're suspending them without pay, making it impossible for them to get another job since they have a family and they can't earn money. They're doing anything and everything to destroy conservatives.
It's one of Trump's worst mistakes is appointing Wray as head of the FBI. And I think he said that. He said he'll be the first one to be fired. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have probably heard that some people behind the scenes, possibly another former president, make a deal with Biden to step down by saying, we're not going to force you, to step away completely from the presidency with the, 25th Amendment, but you stay until, we win and you get to pardon your son.
That's right. Oh, the coronation and the coup d'etat by the Democrats of their own guy. I'm surprised that Biden didn't break down in tears the other night. That's really, horrible. And you can't have a co-presidency here. So I think the Russian and Chinese bombers that came towards the United States over Alaska, the other day, that was not by accident.
No.
They testing us, our will.
And
they're down in Cuba. They're just right off the coast of Miami, just 70 miles away from our coastline. And they are testing the waters. And Iran is doing the same thing. And we were talking about these pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, quote, protests. Yeah. But Iran is behind them. And Clarence, if you remember, I think it might have been 10 years ago. I know it was before Obama was president. Iran attempted to sail a nuclear submarine from Iran to the eastern seaboard.
Really?
They didn't make it across the Atlantic because, they're not really good Navy sailors, fortunately. But if they can't do it that way, what better way than to take us down from inside by splitting us apart? Either you support Palestine or you support Israel.
Was it Mao Zedong who said we'll take the United States without firing a shot? Mm-hmm. Mao Zedong of China said that.
Yeah.
And Nikita Khrushchev too.
Yep. Let's see what happens in the next 6 months.
Well,
let's see. Maybe I don't know if they'll do it before the election or not, because they don't want to help Trump. I'm sure something's going to happen. I don't know if they'll try to take Taiwan. That'd be a big move.
I believe so. Not only that, none of those countries want Trump to get back in office.
Right.
To include China, Russia, and North Korea.
That's why they love Kamala. Russia, her biggest fans are Putin, Xi in China, little Iranian mullahs.
Yeah. Well, they also now take into account right now what happened in France with the cutting of the fiber optic lines that handle the communications for the high-speed rail.
Yes.
And when I was watching the reports on this, I'm saying this is kind of like really strange. You got the Olympics opening in Paris, and just as they're opening, you have an attack inside. But they're saying it's not a terrorist attack, but it's coordinated. Yeah, it's coordinated by Putin in Russia, because Macron said he's going to send some troops to Ukraine. And Putin saying, you do that, we can attack you from within. He's sending Macron a very loud message.
I think if there's going to be another Munich, it's going to be this year.
Really? Okay. Where do you think it's going to be? CS?
Well, in Paris. Yeah. Well, at the Olympics.
There's no way I'd get on a train that goes under the English Channel. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I'm sure the Israelis going to have a team there in Paris.
Oh, they do. They're targeting there.
So, and we all remember what happened in Munich, and I think.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, Clarence, there's something else that came across when I was doing my research last night. And because you have a communications company and you help candidates, with their molding their message and everything, the chairwoman of the FCC, Jessica Rosenworcel, if I got her name correctly, is proposing a rule where the FCC licensed broadcasters will provide an on-air announcement for all political ads that include AI-generated content. Now, when people start talking about AI, and I thought about, political ads, it would be so easy using AI to manipulate the message in the ad to destroy your opponent.
Of course.
Now, I thought this was a good idea, and I'm reading it through, and it appears that there's a big pushback against this. Now, the FCC is their board has, let me see, I know it's half, what is it? 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats or something like that?
Yes, I used to be at the FCC. At that time, we had 7 members. I was there when Benjamin Hooks was at the FCC. I was his legal advisor. Now I think it was reduced down to 5. The Democrats have the 3. I think it's 3-2 these days.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful because they regulate the airwaves. They don't regulate cable, but they usually try to stay out of advertising. And leave that to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. So I hadn't heard that one. That's kind of scary because once you let AI out of the peanut jar, all the other peanuts are going to come too. You can't control it.
Well, this article, which was written in the Epoch Times by Austin Alonso, quotes a Pamela Rutledge. She's the director of Media Psychology Research Center at the Epoch Times. I'm sorry, Mark. Mark Tapscott's a friend of mine. I always drive him crazy. I say Epic is the poach. Well, she stated that the human brain is wired to trust what it sees as real.
Really? Oh, yes.
So therefore, the proliferation of deep fake videos will inherently challenge people's perceptions of reality.
Exactly.
So, right. I mean, what is your... Because one of the chairs, one of the commissioners, Brandon Carr, is dissenting. He's saying that the FCC lacks the statutory authority to mandate the disclosures. Now, like you said, you were with the FCC. Yeah. Do they have the statutory authority, or is that underneath the FEC?
Well, that'd be the advertising is basically a Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah.
FCC is licensing of stations and airways. I do think there's one way they could get at some of these cable companies they own, and that's by going after a lot of these cable networks own individual television and radio stations. and their licenses come up for renewal. And enterprising person who didn't like what was going on certain cable channels could go after them at the FCC on their TV license renewals. But it's very dangerous. I got to read that dissent because they don't want to get into free speech and regulation of content.
Yeah.
It's government. That must be the Republican commissioner who's dissenting. What's his name?
Carr. Brandon Carr.
Brandon Carr.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important agencies. Lyndon Johnson tried to use it to intimidate people politically, the Red Lion case. But it's a very important agency, very important.
Well, you know, when I look at AI, the second people started playing around with it, I said, whoa, when the genie comes out of the bottle, it's going to be unleashed and no one will be able to put it back in. Right. So we do need some sort of a regulation so that when AI is used, people are told this is an AI generated message or whatever it is.
Good point.
Otherwise, there's no truth in advertising.
Good. That's the way. Okay, gotcha. That's a good idea. It's like this is a paid political announcement, or those kind of qualifications, or I approve of this ad, things like that.
Yeah, those kind of qualifiers.
Good.
Yeah, we have to do that because there's so much coming out and no one knows where it's going to go. And it's just expanding day by day, hour by hour. Yeah. New innovations are constantly coming out. And we have to think a little bit outside of the box and get ahead of it before it turns around and has a major disaster, which would mean Kamala Harris back in the White House as president. You like the way I segued?
Our side of the aisle usually is reacting instead of being proactive. We're always reacting to those folks. Yeah. So we got to get ahead of that.
Right. Well, we started off the show talking about Kamala Harris's newest ad. I don't know if you saw that, being endorsed by Michelle and Barack Obama in a phone call. Did you see that?
I saw it. On the phone call?
Yeah.
The phone call?
Yeah.
Yes. At 5 a.m. this morning, they released that. Walking out, it was horrible.
Oh, that's not scripted. There was nothing scripted there. This was just really organic. But they cut out her cackle.
Wait until all three of them walk out on the stage in Chicago together. Watch for that one.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's going to be a biggie. This is going to be, if she won, this would be Obama's third term.
No, fourth.
Right?
No, wait. He served 2 terms. Now he's serving a term as Biden's puppet master. Right. Then Kamala Harris be number 4.
That's right. Got to get rid of them. Don't mean that figured. We got to wake up.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
They're 3 steps ahead of us.
Yep. And we also started off the show because I'm here in South Carolina, and my friend who's the chair of the South Carolina GOP, Drew McKissick, joined in a complaint to the Federal Election Commission against Kamala Harris. Because the moment Joe Biden said, I'm resigning from running, and turned the baton over to Queen Kamala, he transferred his $96 million in his campaign fund over to her. That's not legal.
Okay. And stealing votes wasn't legal either, was it? Stealing the delegates? Well, they're going to sue. They better get the lawsuits going quick.
Well, they've started this complaint right now with the FCC, FEC, get my alphabet soup correctly. And it's joined with 16 other state parties, Citizens United, and David Bossie. And they filed this complaint, looks like it was done yesterday, and saying that it was an illegal transfer because it was Biden for president funds, not Biden-Harris, not or Harris for president. It was Biden for president, so that money went specifically to Biden and not to Harris. So until she becomes the party nominee, he can't release any money.
Good point.
And they can't. She's not the nominee until they have their convention.
That's right.
That was filed in D.C., right? That's great.
Yeah, they filed this directly with the FEC. So,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Well, down to our last few minutes here, Clarence.
Whoa,
It has been so much fun. It's gone so fast. It was lovely now to see you and talk to you face to face. We've always done it via the telephone, but now this is so much better format.
I like it. Nice. It's very good. I learned how to use the Zoom too. I can do it on the phone. It's great.
Well, Clarence, we welcome you back anytime, and it's lovely to see your face.
Okay.
All right, so people can find you at clarencemckee.com. Check them out there, as well as McKee Communications.com also. Oh, man. Oh, that's the end of the show we have. We're going to be back next week. Who the heck do we have next week? Hang on a second. Let me pull my calendar up. Today is the 26th. On the 2nd, we're going to be back on the 2nd. Oh, John O'Connor. He's got the Watergate book out. And Peter Navarro, fresh from prison, will be joining us next week. So my paisano, Peter Navarro, will be joining us. So we've got a great show lined up. And then the following week, Mark Tapscott will be back. But that's all we got for today.
All right. Well, it was a great show.
Well, I want to thank everyone that joined us today. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat station. So with that, I leave you with our show ending. And I say good night, God bless, and get out there and vote.
I'm praying for this land I love, America, America, the home of the free. But there are people making plans to change America. They've no respect for her or what matters most to me. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Mourn for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. I hope it's not too late to save America. Do you hear our battle cry across America? We've got to rescue her. You know it's up to me and you to see the truth behind their eyes. Don't change America. God bless America and the red, white, and blue. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Mourn for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. I hope it's not too late to save America. For the friends we have loved and lost, and we still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. We know it's not too late to save America. Save America. Let's save America. Together we can save America.